Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to break down Manchester City's win over Liverpool in the Community Shield. We're going to look at the first half, see where Manchester City found the advantages against Jurgen Klopp's side, then move to the second half and see how Liverpool were able to get back into the game before losing in penalty shootouts. But before we get into today's video, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. The bell below does give you daily notifications regarding our organic, unfiltered soccer/footy analysis, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. But before we get to today's video, let's look to the starting lineups. We look at Manchester City more of a 4-3-3. Bernardo Silva and Leroy Sané on the flanks with Raheem Sterling up front. And in midfield, we look at Rodri sitting at the base with Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva just ahead of him. Liverpool, on the other hand, also played in a 4-3-3. No Sadio Mane up front there with Origi, Mo Salah, and Roberto Firmino. And in midfield, Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, and Wijnaldum. So now let's get to the first half, see how Manchester City looked to approach the game and how they were able to get the better of Liverpool in the opening 45. So when we break down Manchester City against Liverpool, 4-3-3 against 4-3-3, obviously what is going to be the main difference here is how Liverpool are going to try to approach the game and try to disrupt City from dominating possession and creating ample amounts of chances. What we ended up seeing was they did drop off into a 4-5-1, but there were two key areas where Manchester City did have the advantage. One was Leroy Sané in the early stages, and one of the reasons why is because when you look at Manchester City's attack, you have Sterling who could drop off and show for the ball, but also spin into the channels. You had Bernardo Silva who can cut in, but for the most part was holding the width down the right-hand side because Kyle Walker was narrow. And you have Leroy Sané who was constantly looking to get in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, constantly breaking in behind and getting long balls from Claudio Bravo. But how did that stem? Well, it stemmed from Liverpool's pressing. There was no real surprises here. You have Firmino who's going to try and block off the pass from the goalkeeper. You have the Manchester City center backs who are splitting off wider. Then you have Salah and Firmino who are trying to cut off the passes in between the center backs and the full backs. So they're breaking off there. And what we end up seeing is the fact that when they do get on the ball, you have Rodri who does drop off a bit deeper, and you have Claudio Bravo who is good on the ball, and you have the fullback spreading wide. And what you need here is for the shuttlers to push out, but perhaps because they're not 100% match fit, you didn't have Wijnaldum and Henderson eager to jump out into those spaces. So for the most part, you do have Liverpool's three attackers here, but you do have multiple Manchester City players available, because when they press out into those positions and they spread out in Otamendi and Stones, you have Salah and you have Origi stepping to them. So those two are blocked off, three blocked off. Then you have Rodri dropping in, and you have Kyle Walker available on the right. So with Bravo on the ball, he could clip it out to the fullbacks and then force the shuttlers in Henderson and Wijnaldum to push out. Or he could look to play it long, and he was constantly looking to play it long. But even before that, we saw signs of Sané getting the better of Arnold. You had Gomez making a mistake, and Raheem Sterling dispossessing him and sliding it into Sané, who took his first touch by Arnold to win a corner kick. But beyond that, we saw two distinct areas where we saw Bravo clip the ball over Alexander-Arnold. Sané was able to bump him off, but his cross was cleared by Gomez. And the second opportunity saw Sané break in behind him again, which forced Arnold into a foul, and that eventually led to Sané having to leave the game, and it led to the opening goal. But when you break that down, that was how they were getting their advantage in the opening 10 minutes or so. And the change to bring on Gabriel Jesus did change things, because we saw Gabriel Jesus move up front, and we saw Raheem Sterling move to the left-hand side. Now you no longer have that pace of Sané looking to break in behind, because Sterling was holding the touchline and looking to run at Trent Alexander-Arnold. There was one case in particular where he did pick up the ball from deep behind Wijnaldum, break past Alexander-Arnold, but his cross was also cleared by Gomez. So now City had to kind of change the way that they were going about the game. What we did see now was that there were two areas where you have Gabriel Jesus, who was looking to play off the line and the last shoulder of the defense, but not really getting service there. And you had Kevin De Bruyne, who was eager to push forward. And that was the way that they did harm Liverpool. Because when you look at it, you have Origi, who is stepping to Kyle Walker narrow. You have Rodri, who doesn't have anyone sticking to him. Particularly, there was no real pressure on him. Sometimes you would see Firmino step to him, and he did dispossess him on a few occasions, but it wasn't a consistent theme of the first half. So what we ended up seeing was that the ball would be shifted out to Bernardo Silva. It would force Robertson to step to him, and Kevin De Bruyne was constantly making runs in behind Robertson because he wasn't being tracked by Jordan Henderson. On the left side, it didn't work because although David Silva did find ways to get beyond Wijnaldum, Joe Gomez was there to cover across. But on two specific occasions here, there was actually three, but two that really stood out to show Liverpool's issues with the right-hand side was one where you saw Jordan Henderson step out to Rodri because no one was pressing him, and you had the ball shifted out to Bernardo Silva. And now because Henderson is near Rodri, you have De Bruyne running into that space to get the ball in behind Robertson. Van Dijk doesn't track it, but his powerful cross falls into Alisson's hands. We look to another opportunity from a simple throw-in. You have Origi there, ball goes out to Bernardo Silva in more of a central position near the halfway line. You have Henderson is in his position, and you have De Bruyne simply run by Henderson in between the center backs to break into that right half space. But Gomez does track it late, and he does have the speed to recover, and he's able to block the cross from Kevin De Bruyne. But that was how Manchester City were going about their business. Leroy Sané was key in the opening stages with his runs in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold. They were able to bypass Liverpool's press because they had Rodri dropping deeper, they had the fullbacks available, and Liverpool shuttlers weren't stepping out, and no one was stepping out to Rodri, and they were at a numerical disadvantage in that regard. And like I said, Kevin De Bruyne making runs in behind because Bernardo Silva was tucking out wide, and no one was tracking his runs in behind Robertson, and that was pivotal to Manchester City's success. Whereas when we look at Liverpool, City did a good job here, dropping off into more of a 4-5-1, and they really did press effectively from the front. We saw often in the earlier stages, once we saw Leroy Sané come off because that theme of the game was very short-lived, so we didn't really get to see the progression there. What we saw was that Gabriel Jesus was often sitting near Fabinho. You would have David Silva push out to Joe Gomez. The wider players would track the fullbacks and push out there, and Van Dijk often was the free man on the ball, but with no real passing outlets. Liverpool's main attacking threat, they tried to exploit Zinchenko's poor positioning and his aggressive nature to try to get the ball before Salah and stick tight to him. We saw on two occasions, one, John Stones trying to play the ball to Bernardo Silva. Alexander-Arnold stepped in, and the ball came to Firmino so he could get it around Stones and Otamendi, and you saw Salah getting the upper hand and getting goal side of Zinchenko, but he fired a shot wide. Then you look to another opportunity where Jordan Henderson dropped off a bit deeper, played the long diagonal, and then Zinchenko bit the pressure. Salah broke forward, was able to bypass him and break on goal, but he fired a shot into the outside of the post. But they were trying to constantly get Salah to run in behind Zinchenko, but that wasn't really working for them. But that was their sole threat. They were really trying to break in transition. They were trying to get Salah in behind Zinchenko. But besides that, Liverpool struggled to really test Claudio Bravo in that opening half. And without Salah making those runs in behind or trying to break on the counterattack, they didn't cause Manchester City any issues. Whereas Manchester City had Sané from breaking in behind, and they had the Kevin De Bruyne runs, but just weren't effective in the final third. So now let's get to the second half, see how the game changed and how Liverpool were able to gain control and push it to penalty shootout. So when we break down the second half, we did see Jurgen Klopp swap Wijnaldum and Henderson to opposite side of the midfield to probably cope with Kevin De Bruyne's runs from the first half. And City did retreat a bit deeper, looking to play on the counterattack, and they solely created one golden opportunity where Raheem Sterling did break free, but hesitated when Van Dijk recovered to block off the Kyle Walker pass, and he didn't get a shot off. Besides that, the second half was mostly about Liverpool, partially because City looked like their fatigue levels were dropping, and the change that they did make, taking off David Silva, bringing on Gundogan, Pep Guardiola opting for more control and defensive protection for the back four and to help out Rodri, and pushing Kevin De Bruyne a bit higher to try and play in Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus. However, Jurgen Klopp also made changes, not so in terms of the tactics, but in terms of personnel, providing more energy, giving Liverpool more attacking verve going forward. It started with Matip and Keita coming on. That did see Wijnaldum move to the single pivot and push Joe Gomez out to the right-hand side. But their main attacking threat still went through Mo Salah. Balls being pushed out to him down the right-hand side, cutting in on Zinchenko. We did see Van Dijk hit the crossbar. We did see Mo Salah move away from both Silvas and hitting the post. And we did see Henderson pushing forward and sliding the ball out to Salah so he could cut it on Zinchenko after running by Gundogan to force Bravo into a save. However, like I said, it ran through Salah. He was fouled in the build-up to the goal by Zinchenko. Surprise, surprise. That led to Matip, who was a substitute, to not in an effort that Van Dijk sent across the box, and it justified Jurgen Klopp's decision-making. And Liverpool probably should have won the game in normal time. Brought on Lallana, brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain, brought on Shaqiri, pushed Salah high, and they forced Manchester City into several mistakes. Gundogan coming on didn't really help. He failed to connect passes, constantly giving the ball away. And in those final 10 minutes, Gundogan was culpable for giving away the ball. Bravo and Rodri was pressed by Lallana and Oxlade-Chamberlain, all presenting Mo Salah with chances to win the game. However, Claudio Bravo made some big saves and Kyle Walker made a goal line clearance, which forced the game to penalty shootouts where Manchester City did win. But let me know what you guys think. When you break down the game as a whole, you look at it, City were better in the first half through Sané's running in behind and De Bruyne's movement in behind Robertson. But in the second half, they tired. Klopp made the right changes, provided more energy, and Liverpool possibly should have won the game in normal time. But let me know what you guys think. Will Manchester City be pushed to the wire by Liverpool this season? And do either of these managers need to make any moves in the transfer window with the season starting next week? Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.